Welcome to Art Bazaar, a podcast that chats with artists of all types to explore the depths of creativity, brought to you by the Alternative Gallery. We'll be releasing new episodes every Wednesday with bonus episodes dropping randomly. If you like what you're hearing, you can support this podcast by going to thealternativegallery.com and clicking on the podcast tab. I'm your host, Brandon Wonder, creative director of the Alternative Gallery, a non-profit arts organization in Allentown, PA, run through the efforts of dedicated volunteers. Today marks the 18th episode of the Art Bazaar podcast, as well as the first episode of 2024. We are, in fact, recording on January 1st, starting the year off right. And today, on this very special New Year's Day episode of Art Bazaar, we'll be changing things up a bit. For one thing, we're recording this episode in our main gallery, where we host most of our events and shows. Usually we record in my office, but the reason we're doing this episode in the main gallery is because we have several guests joining us on the podcast today. With me once again are my gallery co-founders, Rob Regal and Jay Echeverria. But we also have an additional guest with us today, our wise man and class clown, all rolled into one, Chris P. Jones, who stopped by the Art Bazaar for a chat all the way back on episode 4. Welcome, my dear friends and creative co-conspirators. How y'all doing?
Howdy.
What's up, Brandon?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, yes.
Did anybody do anything fun or noteworthy during the holiday break we had here?
I just had a couple friends over and hung out.
Had some friends?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I had family. My son came in from Brooklyn, hung out. Nothing crazy, just good, hanging out with the family.
Yeah? You got a break from the crazy?
Yeah. We just took it easy.
How about you, Robert?
I went out last night doing some grown-up stuff for the new year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, huh.
Like TPing houses?
No, slightly more grown-up than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I'm sure it
doing your
involves-
taxes? No.
It involves the
That's
human
grown up.
anatomy
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Oh.
and rhythmic motions and
Yeah, it was an
Say no
artistic
more, say no
artistic study in dance and anatomy.
lights and music.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was artistic.
Yeah. I'm sure Rob had a great time.
It was pretty good.
So, did anybody make any art during the holiday break?
I did, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
new paintings.
I did. I had a commission.
Technically, yeah.
What did you do, Chris Jones?
This rookie basketball player for the Spurs, some teenage phenom. I can't really think of his name, but yeah, I did that.
Yeah. How long did it take you?
Like actual work into it about, I don't know, maybe like 20, 25 hours.
Cool. So, you need to get at least $20 an hour. So, hopefully, you got at least $500 that painting.
Oh yeah, I got paid. I got paid good.
Good man. Congratulations. Starting
So that was
starting
that was
slash ending
good.
the year off well.
Yeah. So that was good. So I did that. Now I've just got to work more.
Yeah.
That's all.
Jay, what you work on?
I had a commission as well, but mine was digital. It was for a friend of mine of his girlfriend and her brother, so that was kind of cool to do. Just general like paintings for myself.
Screwing around,
Screwing around.
tinkering.
Tinkering, yeah.
Rob, what were you? I know you were a tinkerer, Rob. What were you playing around with?
So I felt a little bad after Christmas because I didn't get my cat anything, and I decided that I was going to make a cardboard tank for her. Like she loves hiding in cardboard boxes, and like I feel kind of janky just having a bunch of cardboard boxes sitting around my kitchen. So I figured I would like make it look like something, so that way it's just a little more acceptable.
You were worried about
That
being
sounds like fun.
judged on your cardboard pile. So
Exactly,
You had to
yeah.
spruce it up.
Yeah, like that's not my trash. That's my cat's trash.
I wonder if cats are aware of Christmas.
They know.
They know?
Subconsciously, they know.
How do they know? How do you
I
know?
get-
How do you know that they know?
I don't know.
Your
I don't
whole-
think they like it because
Don't
they
know,
always
but no.
destroy a Christmas tree.
I think they're
without a
probably
doubt.
fascinated by the tearing open of gifts, so the paper flying everywhere. That's got to be pretty awesome for them. And then, of course, they get to play around and hide in it afterwards. But yeah, the Christmas tree, that's like
They
it's like
can't.
catnip for them.
Yeah, every cat I've ever owned wound up in the tree.
You ever have a cat knock a tree down?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I've had everything happen.
Real
to a
tree or
cat.
artificial?
Both.
Both.
Yes.
What's worse to clean up?
I guess the real one, because you really hate those needles once they start coming off.
I feel like less and less people
go
do real
everywhere.
trees anymore. They're
No,
such a mess.
definitely.
Yeah.
No, I have a real one this year. Jen wanted to get one, so
Although I did see this company, I forget what state it's in, you can actually rent a pine tree from them and they'll replant it after the holiday season, so it's not wasteful.
See,
That's nice.
That's
I like
dope.
that.
And if it's living the whole time, it's not gonna. The
Yep.
pine needles aren't gonna drop as much.
It won't be as much as a shit show,
Yeah.
not as much cleanup. I like that idea a lot. It's
That is cool.
the kind of creativity that I think artists can give the world and non-artists can inject it in the normal things they do, right?
True.
Sure.
So we just went through, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it was a rocky year, a lot of ups and downs. Life just kind of happens to you. I'm wondering, as far as the AG, if there are any highlights from last year. What stands out when you think of 2023 and AG? Like, damn, that was awesome.
Definitely the trip we took to
Asheville trip.
Yeah.
I think.
You
I would
think?
say.
That was last year.
I mean, that
Yeah,
that
that
was
was last year.
that was last year.
I mean, time moves in weird ways now, but yeah, I'm certain that was last year.
It was a lot condensed in a short period of time. A lot happened to us.
Yeah, that was a while. That one day alone was like, basically was a film.
You know what?
Right.
One of the most memorable things about the trip for me actually was the ride, like the drive home, because we were like coming home from North Carolina, but we were simultaneously like pushing the fundraiser at the same time. So the two
Yeah.
things just kind of rolled right into
And
each other.
that actually worked out well because we raised a bunch of money and people helped out a lot in that. And it shortened and eased up the trip coming back there.
I mean, yeah, it made the road trip home a little more fun.
Which right there for me, that is the highlight for me, the saving the film prints. That to me was so special.
Right. That was right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There were some steps along the way that were a total pain in the ass, and I wish would have went differently. But as a whole, I'm super glad that we got to do that and save those films because it was like 1,700 films we saved, and not just
Well,
the films, but
right.
we also the racks. And
I think that was the biggest accomplishment of the year
I would say so. Yeah,
for the gallery.
absolutely. How about you, Jay?
I think the artist meetups are pretty cool.
The artist meetups, yeah.
Yeah, those are nice.
Because it reminded me that there are like artists in the area still that are seeking a scene.
Yeah. I think that was a real reminder and in some ways new information of what our role is and why we're doing what we do.
Right.
For me, that was a huge reminder. And of course, I think it was the last thing we did of the year, the Brandon Dominguez show.
Right.
Like I
Yeah.
feel that was a bridge from those artist takeovers and meetups we were doing.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's a direct product.
Yeah, the artist that he invited to be a part of that event with him. I mean, we invited him to do a solo show, and he still invited other artists, and I thought that was dope as hell.
Yeah, that's how to do it.
But those people came together because of those artist meetups. They would not have known each other otherwise. I mean, yeah, meeting at open houses and events here at the gallery, it certainly would have happened, but those events were aimed at doing precisely that. And for me, what was so great about the Brandon Dominguez show, I mean, first of all, he sold a bunch of art.
Yeah, he did.
He sold like 10 pieces.
Yeah, he did.
He
It's
really
awesome.
had a good show, great pricing and everything.
Yeah, perfect.
Which I always think is good because you want to get your art out to as many people and just keeps expanding. So
Yeah, he had coworkers and everything coming out. People that, again, don't go to art shows.
Right.
Yeah.
and plus it was nice of him to do that. He could have priced them way higher.
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
it was a good show.
You
Yeah, it
got
was-
to know your audience for that stuff. And he
Right.
did.
So it was like he was doing everybody a favor, basically.
And it's interesting that he does know his audience so well, considering how early on he's still in this.
Right, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I know artists have been doing it 10, 15 years that
They-
don't have a handle on
They have
it.
their first show. They have $10,000 price tag on their paintings.
Or no
It's
one
like-
shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely struck me that it was a really cohesive, well put together theme. Like it was really all in all, the artwork and everything was really well constructed show.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
and,
Rob,
like,
you went home with a piece yourself.
well, technically too. I also grabbed
okay.
the collab.
Good for
I got
you.
the collab between him and Tyler, and then his Anxious and White
Nice.
was also a piece I got for a Christmas gift. for
Yeah,
someone,
we still have 3 of the big pieces here in the main gallery with us, which are going to go up to
Yeah, I
his...
keep looking over at him.
They're going to go up to his studio
Cool.
once we make that transition. But what was also cool about the Brandon Dominguez show was it's weird because the group of artists that he invited are randomly the group of artists that are going to be a part of a resident artist program for the most part,
Right.
which I thought was interesting. Like they had all been a part of that in their own way, and he had curated them for his show for different reasons. And for me, that was like a big preview of what this year is going to be as far as that resident artist program. So I was really happy about that.
Definitely.
I know he sold a bunch that night, and then we had that It was the album listening party the week after, or no, half a week later. It was because his event was on Wednesday, and then we had an album listening party here on Saturday, and then he sold more work there.
Wow.
Yeah, I told him, I was like, come back, man. I'm telling you, this is your crowd. And he did. And as soon as he got here, I'm not even exaggerating when I say less than 5 minutes later, someone asked who the artist was, and he happened to be there, and he sold work on the spot.
Nice.
I love it.
So I guess that's another bit of advice. If you're either an artist with the AG or you're showing art somewhere else, if they have events, even if it's not related to you, be there if you can.
If your stuff's on the wall, be there.
Because we saw firsthand, and this is just what happened now. We've seen in the past too. You're more likely to sell if the artist is there in person.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because people want to talk to the artist.
Yeah.
When I've like vended and stuff, and I'm away from my table and other people are there, they'll be like, "You just missed someone. They wanted to meet the artist.
Yeah.
Like they're interested in the work." And I've like missed out on sales because I wasn't there to like meet the person.
Yeah, and there's so much of
Important.
this, people are buying a piece of the artist or they want to leave with a story. It's not even always that. I think them just being able to put a face to the artist and just, it makes more sense having seen them and spoken to them, even if it's just small talk.
Definitely.
They have a better idea of who that artist is, and as long as that person isn't, a raging piece of shit, that person's probably more likely to buy that art from them. Any other thoughts on AG 2023? Any spectacular things that we want to remind people that happened? The Sewer Person and Garden Show was pretty wild.
That was
That was a really good show.
That was a massive crowd. Props to everyone who was involved with that show. We had people lining up down the block for that one.
Yeah, that was cool.
What?
That was
Was
crazy.
that crazy show nonstop?
We had the
the
printout.
hip hop show. That was the hip hop show at the beginning of 2023, where they had the backdrop for the stage. They had an artist made a clay replica of it, and then they photographed it and then used that as a backdrop.
And the headliner was late and didn't come till 11. Was that show?
Oh yeah, because they had like car trouble. They had trouble on the road or
that's
something.
right.
Yeah, and we were getting like live updates.
That's right.
That's why we were so busy.
They missed their flight out of Canada and had to drive here.
Yeah,
That's what
in
happened.
a van.
I
That's
remembered
pretty
it
crazy.
briefly.
They
I was trying to
cut-
remember exactly what it was, though. Yeah, and they made it in time.
Yeah, they put on a good show. People, it was crazy.
It was a crazy.
That was
show.
the craziest show I've ever seen down here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the craziest show we've had since the one breakdancing event we had, which to me is the craziest one ever. Aside from some of the pervert shows we used to do, the burlesque events.
Noisegasm was pretty.
Noisegasm was a different kind of crazy though. But I mean, just as far as like packed house, like that B-boy event was by far. I mean, we had like way too many people. I was like close to 300 people.
That was like 300 people in the
That
building.
was way, and it made no sense because you couldn't stand anywhere in the gallery to begin with because there were two dance floors side by side, and behind it were 3 DJs. So it's like, I don't even know how we got that many people in here, but those types of events, people are used to cramming it in and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's weird with those types of events because it seems like there's so much parking too. Like no one parks in those lots or anything like that. Like they're so used to going to these big city events that like, I'm not touching a parking lot. I'm going to get fined or towed.
That's a product of that, 100%.
They will walk 4 or 5 blocks, no
yeah.
questions asked. So they're not even looking back. So I'm curious. Now we're moving into the new year, 2024. We're officially starting it off here. And I like this podcast to be something that can benefit artists that are listening. And I would definitely like to I guess before I say that. So I talked to Jay and Rob about some of the things in the agenda today to get them prepared. But I didn't tell Chris Jones anything. No. Not that there's any surprises really, but I just thought it would be more fun this way.
All right.
Like I know Rob was preparing and Jay was coming up with some stuff. So for Chris Jones, as well as those listening, this is what we have in store today as far as our topics of conversation. We're going to be talking about how to survive as an artist in the coming year. I think that's probably the main focus of what the gallery is trying to become or has strived to be all these years. What's really interesting to me is today, January 1st, 2024, a bunch of copyrighted works entered the public domain. And I want to discuss some of those works, because it's a lot, but just how maybe artists can utilize that in some way for their art. I just think it's, another batch of resources to at least look at. And some of our hopes, aspirations, and goals for the new year. And of course, what to expect from the Alternative Gallery in 2024. I guess let's get right into it as far as surviving as an artist in 2024. And I think what we've learned the last few years is, especially for visual artists, the main thing they should be focusing on is vending. Jay and Rob, what do you think about that? And Chris Jones, because you vend a lot, Chris Jones. What are your thoughts on that? How important is it for an artist to vend in 2024?
I think it's important. You have to find the right spot. I think it's definitely better than the gallery system right now. Well, in Allentown, I'm speaking. I don't know about. I think Easton's better for the gallery. But the other thing with vending is you get more money in your pocket, to be quite honest.
I think in a lot of cases, vending is easier than being in galleries. You should do both if possible. But I think you have a lot more options when it comes to vending. I mean, how many times, like if you vend 5-6 weekends in a row, people are like, oh, that's cool. Imagine having 5-6 gallery shows 5-6 weeks in a row. People are like, what the hell are you doing?
Well, right. And that's the thing. It's all about reaching people. Are you going to reach more people in a gallery or in a certain place that you're vending?
I think
if it's events happening.
And I think part of the reason why vending is better is you're tapping into a crowd that isn't just artists and art collectors. Like when you do, like say something like Easton's Bacon Fest, which is always huge. You'll have, 5,000, 10,000 people. I don't even know their numbers, but I know it's over a few thousand. Those people aren't going to a gallery show. So your chances of selling art, especially prints or low-priced art, which in some cases, you make a higher profit on some smaller works in a lot of cases, depending what you're selling. Because I see a lot of artists having to haggle and go down on price for bigger works because a bigger piece that should command more money, they realize that it's a lot of money and they kind of squirm.
Right.
But I think it's important to have like more pricey pieces with you, just to show what you do. And
you
then
should always have at least one major piece that you can call a masterpiece that's over $1,000, and everything else looks very affordable in comparison.
Right, and have a price point, like a good ranging price point. Like myself, I should get stickers and things like, you want things like that too, like small items, because everything adds up.
$2-3 stickers. You sell 30 of those in a day, man. I mean, that's covering your gas, potentially your table cost, depending on what the event is, of course.
And prints too, and even like smaller prints, people, because you got to have something like $20-30, because that's like nothing to someone.
Yeah, that's like $25 is like the normal. I think that most people would have no problem pulling the trigger on. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get this cool print. I'm gonna get this small painting. This artist is cool.
That's like your bread and butter, and you hope to sell a bunch of those and make a few bigger sales, and then you had a good day. And then you never even know. It's also you'll meet people, and they'll be like, oh, and then maybe later on, give them your website information. You can make sales down the road, or do commissions, whatever, if you choose.
And I put together a vending cheat sheet. I think I did it about 2 years ago when we first starting up the Third Thursday Art Market. I don't remember what I did. I mean, I have it, but I think we posted it somewhere, or maybe it was like in the email we were sending out to all the artists, but that's what it was, right, Rob?
Yep, yeah. We sent it out to anyone who had signed up for it.
Yeah, so I think, I don't believe it's on the website, so we should post that up, but that's one thing that I really want to share with the artists openly is a vending cheat sheet. Basically, if you haven't vended before, or if you haven't vended that much and you're not sure what to bring, this is like the bare necessities of what you would need to do that. And then we also like spice it up. Like, okay, now that you have the bare necessities, you want to go to the next level. And then I think we work our way all the way up to like the ultimate package, like everything you could possibly need. And we try to be mindful to make these things affordable and maybe even found objects so you don't have to buy stuff in some cases. Even a good folding table, which is one of the first things I would recommend someone buy.
Yeah, that's basics. That's 101.
Tables,
even before a tent, like those folding tables, a 6-foot folding table that folds in half, that can fit in almost every car. And you don't want to get some old crappy table that's gonna like bend or fall over on you during the show.
Grandma's old puzzle making table is not gonna cut
Sewing
it.
tables, live at home. Just go spend the $40 and get yourself a folding table. That is, even before a chair, to me, is the main necessity.
Yeah, it is.
Even before a tent, even before a print rack, which all those things are useful depending what your setup is like. But yeah, then, when you get to the point of having to do these outdoor events, a lot of events do require you to have a tent.
Yeah, the higher up you go, they even go so far as dictating like what color.
Which I think is dumb as hell.
It's crazy.
That's one of the things we erased from history when we did Arts Fest. But we don't care what color tent it is, as long as it fits within this space and is not a danger to you, other vendors, or visitors. We're cool with it.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite parts of Arts Fest. Is you look down the row and you just see all the unique setups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was.
Why would you want to look down and see it like uniform? Like this isn't military school.
Yeah,
it's an arts festival. Mayfair was bad with that one.
Yeah.
Mayfair was real bad with that one. You know, and those festivals that require you, that deem it necessary to show photos of your pre-existing setups.
That's fucking crazy.
That's like
dude.
I had to deal with City of
the Hoboken.
Like that crazy.
You know, and if you run an event or a festival and you're listening, don't do that, because the main thing is you're keeping out artists who haven't vended before. You're not allowing them in. And if every event wants to copy other events that exist and everyone's doing this, where are people supposed to get their start? I guess you start at some church craft fair that, you know, it's like $9 a table and no one's under 80, and no one's going to buy your art there, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, totally not.
Chris Jones, maybe. So maybe someone had like a crush on a Beatle or like Jack Kerouac and they'll buy, you know, some pop art. But, you know, any street artists, the bulk of the artists we work with, they're not going to sell at events like that.
No.
So we are going to post up that vending cheat sheet. I'm going to put a link in the show notes. So anyone, even if you're familiar with vending, and it's just nice to look at it and have, especially now in the downtime, maybe you're thinking ahead to what event you're going to do in the spring and summer, send it to a friend. I'm sure there's people that are like on the fence about vending. Send it to them, show them how easy and cheap it can be, and push them to do it, because, yeah, like Chris Jones, you were saying, we went and checked out the one in Hoboken because your friend was aware of it.
Right. Yeah, that was horrible. I still want to do the spring one. I just have to.
What do you mean it was horrible? It was great.
It was great, but as far as
you mean as far as the application to get in and do it?
Yeah, because originally,
well, you were
I was led to believe I could just. I was like, it was like the week before. I thought I could just, and I've been doing a lot of vending, so I already had I kind of already had my setup, so I was really planning on.
But that's your fault for doing it at the last minute, though. Whether you just found out or not.
Well, my friend kind of didn't think it would be a problem, and then he sent me all that stuff, and it was like insane.
Yeah, you needed like a
so
business
I knew
license.
then right away I'd have to go for the spring.
Although we went and we checked out that event, and that is definitely one I will be recommending to artists we work with to go vend.
Yeah,
because it's right in Hoboken. It's right there. You can see New York City from it. So you'll get a bunch of people that you wouldn't get obviously here in the Valley. So, and it was pretty affordable too, right? How much was that? It was like,
I believe $60.
Yeah.
That's why. That's like another reason.
And there were thousands. That was like 5 blocks long.
Well, the way I understand it is the woman that runs it is like in her 80s, so everything. She's still running it like it's 1982 or something.
Well, and there's
like
fewer and fewer.
You got to send in photographs. And,
you got to fax it in.
Setups that you've had. Like who has I don't even have I don't even know the last.
Crazy.
I got boxes of photographs, but
it has to be on
film.
film.
They're like from 30 years ago.
You have to mail in a disposable camera for them to develop, and
no, I guess I'll just have to get stuff printed somewhere.
I wonder where.
I don't know. Oh yeah, here.
I thought you were joking around, Chris Jones. Look at this.
Yeah, I got to look at that again.
No more proclivities for you before we record.
I gotta not procrastinate now that it's June. Spring's gonna be here soon enough. I gotta get.
It's January.
It's January 1st.
Wait, what did I say?
You're talking about spring. It's been winter for 10 days.
Did I say it was June?
No, you said spring is gonna be here soon.
It's sooner than you think.
Wow.
Sooner than next winter. That's for sure.
Winter's on its way out.
It's been here for not even 2 weeks.
Well, I'm done with it.
We're supposed to get like 5 inches of snow this weekend potentially.
No, we're not.
Yeah,
I would
Saturday into Sunday.
I really would like that just to kind of like stop. You know what?
Stop feeling the apocalypse is looming right over our shoulder.
I just feel like I just want to like not. It'll be good.
You know, I got to clear all the snow here, but I'm hoping it snows. I love it. So Rob and I got to bust at the snowblower tomorrow and hope that thing still fires up because we haven't used it in a while. Yeah. We got it. We used it like 3 times, 4 times, and then that was it. No snow the last 2 years. I think January 29th will be 2 full years there hasn't been at least 1 inch of snow in Philadelphia at the airport.
Well, did we get any snow last year?
We got like a dusting.
Yeah, nothing
We got
substantial.
none, right?
I didn't have to do anything last year, no. It was kind of depressing. Because, I mean, you know, I've grown to love winter, and it's sad that you one winter after the next passes and there's no snow.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
That's like, why? Come on, man.
Especially for the kids. That's like when you're a kid, you're like.
I know, they're getting robbed of this experience. I mean, when I was a kid, I
wanna go
remember
sleigh riding.
Used to be constant snowstorms, and then I would build like a huge ass fort in my front yard because all the snow would be
snowball
piled
fights,
up.
Sure.
Yeah, ice balls if you want to get real
Remember
nasty about it.
the blizzard of '94 being like 9 years
Oh,
old.
yeah, that.
And the snow was
my-
like up to my eyes, and I like built tunnels in the front yard.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I
oh my
remember
God.
I was trapped in my apartment for days with my son, Aaron,
Oh no.
and my cat.
Oh no.
Yeah. And
So
we
you
had to
couldn't
go
even
to-
party.
We had to go, and we got bundled up, and we went to the Turkey Hill, and they were open, and we just got as much like junk food that we could to wait it out
Nice.
until we could, because you couldn't even drive. That was crazy.
Yeah.
You had a staycation during the snowstorm.
Yeah, it's all right as long as you have food. You don't have food and you're snowed in, then
Well, there's always the cat.
that's all right. That's what I'm saying. Tomcat was looking at us no way.
You don't eat the cat. You send the cat out to get food. It was Uber Eats of its day. So, okay, vending is number one. Number two, I would say the most important thing artists need to do is network. Network in all directions. Network with people that want to buy your art. Network with people that run art spaces, with art events. And more importantly, I would say most importantly, is network with other artists.
Definitely.
I would say that's super, super important because
It is important, but it takes, time to do that too. To go to all the different, I mean, if you mean like going to openings so you meet other people. Or
I mean,
you go
that's one way to do it. I mean, look at the
or-
artist takeovers that we did last year.
Like the artist takeovers are good because that's all.
I just honestly
basically
texted
set up
people
for
I
that.
knew and messaged people I knew and asked them if they want to hang out. There's no art bars. Do you guys want to get together? We have all these common interests. Let's just chill. And I knew we were on to something with the artist takeovers because so many artists I was talking to about it, I had to over-explain the concept of doing nothing. Like do I bring a table? Do I bring my art? Do I do that? No, just come and hang out.
Just be a human being amongst other human beings.
They're so used to having to drag out all their stuff, probably not make any money, but still make the most of it and hang out with artist friends. None of them could really wrap their mind around like, wait, you just want me to come hang out and talk to other people like me? Exactly. That's exactly what I want.
That's the point, to have the conversations and learn things.
And for us, that really beefed everything up, just having those artist takeovers.
Definitely, yeah.
So, yeah, go to those artist meetups. But even if you can't make those artist meetups, you have the list of artists that are going to be showing. You can message them, be like, hey, would you like to hang out sometime? Or just start a conversation. I think that's super important. That's one of the things Jay and I was talking about recently about, we do so much of the AG, and so much of my social life is infused with the work we do here, which I love. But because of that, it's made it less desirable for me to want to go out to other events and social gatherings, even though I know I should be doing that. Because if I expect people to come out and support art stuff, I should be going out and supporting their things. But I'm either having events the same night, or I'm overworked, or I'm just not feeling it.
That's what I was getting to. It's these things are happening. You can't you'd like to go and support another artist, and you just like you're saying, you can't do it. It's because of circumstances and
circumstances. Sometimes you can't do anything about it. But if it's just you holding yourself back, I think it's really important that artists push each other, or push themselves rather, to go out and go to these things. And if you can find a buddy, that's what I've realized. There's a lot of times I'm down to go do something, but I'm like, I don't feel like going alone.
Right.
If you just have a buddy, I think that makes everything 10 times easier.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it totally sucks, you and your friend can just shoot the shit and just block everything else out and still have a great time. But if you're by yourself, you're like, and I'm one of those people that when I'm like, I don't really know anyone, and I'm not really like hitting it off with anyone and starting a conversation. I hate being that person that's constantly taking out their phone and looking at their phone.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, why even be in a social situation then?
Yeah, bring a buddy.
Bring a buddy. Go ahead, Chris Jones. I know you got some sage advice, Chris Jones.
What? No, about the phone thing, right? When you're in a social situation, you should be talking to people.
Yeah. No, and we're
such a crutch.
It is, we're letting it just like ruin a lot of good moments for us and events and stuff like that. It's because it's the easiest thing to just scroll. I mean, the technology is designed to endlessly scroll now. You can literally sit there for 4 or 5 hours and just scroll, drink your drink, and you'll just fit in, and no one will even think it's weird.
It's true.
Right? But imagine if you're like reading an encyclopedia or like, mailing shit out and licking envelopes. You're like, what the fuck? But somehow just staring at your phone for hours. So the point is, The buddy system, Chris
Bring a buddy.
Jones. Right?
Oh yeah, the buddy system's good.
Yeah. What are some good? You ever had any bad experiences with the buddy system, Chris Jones? Has it always worked out in your favor? You're probably the one the buddy's looking after usually. You're the reason there is a buddy system.
Yeah, I can't really think of any. I mean,
no school field trips where you got lost.
No, well.
Now here we go.
There was a field trip where we went when I was in, I guess it was junior high school, the art department. We went to, I think it was the Museum of Natural History. And anyway, my friend Osborne and I were walking, of course, where you weren't supposed to. And there was a woman getting on a cart, like a golf cart, like an electric cart that went through the museum. And it was Jackie Onassis. We were convinced it was Jackie Onassis. And we were chasing the cart yelling, Jackie O, and then we got in trouble. From the security caught us, and then I don't remember.
So you were chasing a
we
staff
got turned.
member.
Well, yeah, and we got turned back to our, I guess it was Robb Junior High School. It was the group that I was with.
That's the school on the hill.
Yep.
The one at the castle.
So that's a good story.
That school has
I think it was
gargoyles on
Jackie
top.
O anyway. Because
Wow.
they were pretty mad that we chased her.
I was hoping for something a little more sinister, but that'll do. So yeah, the networking and the artist meetups I think is really important. And just a couple quick ones here. Make prints. I think that's super, super important.
Have a website.
Have a website. That's a good one.
like.
I don't have it on my list here. Yeah, the website should be like the nucleus. Website should be your core thing you want to direct everyone to, because everything else someone's making money on, even if it's Facebook. Everyone's trying to like show ads for shit. Like, as an artist, I want to go to your website before anything else. And then social media to promote yourself and your website, I think is the next layer. If you could avoid selling on things like Etsy and all that shit, avoid it. Have a web store. Have people go to your website to buy stuff. That's a great point, Jay. And kind of similar to prints, wearable art.
Yeah, it's a big one.
And this is not only a big one, Jay, but I think it's something that you need to focus on, and I know you've been talking about focusing on.
Yeah, clothing's a big one.
People would buy the shit out of your shirts. Same thing with you, Chris Jones.
Yes, I was thinking and the same thing. And when you're vending, people
I sell
collect
clothing
T-shirts.
all the
They
time.
love T-shirts.
Yeah. People are more likely to buy a T-shirt than a print or a painting. Let's be honest.
Yep. And toys too. If you can figure out a way to like turn your art into some sort of a little toy, people of our generation all the way down to little kids, they'll love it. Any kind of practical merchandise based on the artwork.
Yeah,
is
T-shirts,
smart.
hoodies.
Jay, if you could do plushies.
Oh yeah, no, I do. I have some.
You do?
Yeah, they sell.
And the shrinky dinks, the earrings and such.
Drinking and
Dinky.
earrings.
Oh yeah, right. And
Jewelry.
Jewelry.
You can accessorize.
Yeah,
it's not selling out.
No,
I think
it's
Just be
good.
classy about it.
I like seeing my art on stuff. It's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
No, the more different things you can put your art on, the better.
I like
Things
odd
are.
mediums of things. So, like all these people that make their own custom video games, like they'll take a game and put like a transparent blue cartridge with custom artwork. That's art to me.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love these oddball mediums. So, but wearable art, can't stress it enough. I mean, not all art lends itself to that, but even if you have a cool logo for your company, or even if you just have someone write out your name in some cool font, if you can't do it yourself, it's always good to have a T-shirt if you can.
Definitely.
I mean, I love band shirts. I love pop culture shirts.
Yeah,
Like
T-shirts are where it's at.
yeah. So make more shirts. Like I mentioned, the vending cheat sheet, which we'll share. And for musicians and filmmakers, I can't stress enough, put your stuff out on physical media if you can. Especially right now. It's not only a great way to have your music in the hands of people, but it's going to last. It's going to last a long-ass time. And me as a filmmaker, I'm an independent filmmaker, so I don't have the means to put out high-end, professionally pressed stuff, but that's my goal to get there. That's how I want people to collect my films. Like if people go to the theater and they see one of my movies and they love it, or say they see a short on YouTube and there's a collection of those shorts, I want there to be a collection that they can purchase. Like, wow, this is good enough to be in my home library that I can pull out anytime and show someone. Right. Put your stuff out on physical media. The future will thank you. I think what we do with physical media starting this year is really going to determine the future of physical media for the next 20 years. I have a whole episode planned about physical media that I want to talk about things, but I'm already seeing a lot of recent releases that just came out in the last even year that I can't find on disc or physical media. And it's like, man, if films that recent are inaccessible,
Right.
how's it going to be in 5 or 10 years? So please, artists, musicians, please put your stuff out on physical media if possible. So Rob, I know you got some stuff too. What would you like to add to that list of helpful tips for artists this year?
So actually, I think you guys nailed down my major ones, except for the big one that I did sort of a deep dive on is protecting your online artwork from AI, from generative AI, because that's obviously become a huge problem for artists. And when I was, looking into my different things for, what an artist in 2024 is going to need, I actually stumbled on this, I don't know if it's an app program, but it's something being developed out of the University of Chicago, and it's called Nightshade. And it's actually a way that artists they call it poison their online images so that they're useless for AI modeling. And it basically just, it shifts around pixels in the background that the human eye can't notice. But if,
it's just enough to scramble.
Right, like to a human being looking at it, it's a picture of a dog, but when AI looks at it, it thinks it's a cat. Literally, it can do that.
Is this a free service, or do you have to pay?
So it sounds like it's still like more of a developmental thing. I'm not sure if it's being actively marketed yet, but you can take a look for it. It's called Nightshade. If you put in like Nightshade AI. There's also a similar product that the same guy is working on. It's called Glaze. Same people out of the University of Chicago. Now, Glaze is actually something particular that I think, like, especially for artists like Jay and Chris Jones here, is very helpful, because Nightshade will guard your images or take that image and make it useless for modeling. But what Glaze does is it does a similar thing, but to your personal artistic style. So like you guys both have very unique standout styles of artwork, and they are teaching these AI models to, recreate particular artist styles, and this Glaze app basically prevents AI models from being able to mimic your brush strokes, your texture usage, highlight and shadow particularities, things that are like unique to your specific work of art. They've been tested already. I actually have anyone listening, if you actually look up Nightshade or Glaze, University of Chicago, the MIT Technology Review, there is a visual grid where they actually gave a bunch of different prompts. I'll show you guys here in the room. Like with the clean image is, a dog, a cat, a handbag, a hat, fantasy art, whatever, cartoon, concept art. And then it shows after 50 poison samples of a dog image, the dog has like sort of a cat-like rabbit face, 6 legs, and like the back legs are pointed straight outward. 100 poisoned samples, and it looks like a cartoon cat out of like a Pixar movie. And then after 300 poisoned samples, you've got what basically looks like a photograph of a regular house cat.
How many poison samples does it take to start to alter the image?
The first example they have here is at 50.
Okay. Because I feel like that's a lot.
Yeah. But I guess what they're trying to get at here is the more artists use this for their online work, the less reliable it's going to be for these groups that are developing AI to pull images off the web.
That's a good point, because, with the number of people trying to use it right now, that'll probably dilute it really quickly.
Yeah. And apparently this MIT review was talking about how if this is done severely enough, that it can do permanent damage to these AI models.
Nice.
to the point where these developers are now having to second guess even using, web sourced content to order to train their AI. So they're going to actually have to go and pay for, verified licensed content that is pre-approved to be fed to these things in order to teach them.
Yeah, it's good to know that things like this are being developed. Hopefully we don't need it. Hopefully, the wheels of justice spin in the right direction quickly enough to get a handle on this. I think this year you are going to start seeing a lot of progress as far as lawsuits against these class action lawsuits against these companies that have trained these systems on stolen work.
Mm-hmm. And it's not regulated at all.
Well, that's how a lot of technology starts. It's an open field. There's no regulation. They abuse the hell out of it until they screw over enough people, and then government has to step in and finally regulate it and put a cap on how much these guys are doing, how much you're getting away with, and basically how much they're going to charge if you're going to do this shit. And then these companies have to weigh, hey, is it better for us to just keep breaking the law and paying these fines? But I mean, the bigger issue I would say is educating the public that this shit is shameful. Like, you would hope that morally we stop this before we need to enact laws. I mean, it's obvious we're going to have to pass laws. There's no question to that. I'm saying it would be nice if us as humans just got together and be like, yeah, that's not cool, especially with stolen work.
There's so many people that don't understand art or the way artists are, and they just think it's like the next step for art, and they think it's cool, man. You know, and they don't get why it's
I love
not.
Technology, but this is an abuse of technology.
Yeah, they don't understand
I don't see any argument.
They don't understand how it's hurting people.
Yeah. I mean, look at all the artists we know, they're all struggling. And now it just became more difficult. So that is a really useful tool, at the very least, to keep your eye on and educate yourself with, because unfortunately, I don't think this is something that artists should have to spend their time focusing on. This is totally unnecessary, in my opinion.
It's just an extra step that we have to go through, another loop to go through.
Extra bullshit you have to worry about.
There's so many things like that with people. You don't even know if somebody's using your art and making money off of it.
The reverse of the situation would be helpful, where you use AI to go and scan existing art to see if someone ripped your shit off.
Right. Which I'm sure that, see, that's the other side of the sword here. Like, a lot of people are anti-AI, like, as a blanket. But, yeah, AI can definitely be very useful in protecting yourself. It's this generative AI. That's the key word, the generative AI that's creating.
Let's cut the shit. It's what it is people who aren't creative wanting to be creative, or maybe who are creative but want to be lazy. That's not special. And I think it dumbs down what we're trying to do as humans driven to create. I think there's something very, very special about that. And to just make a device, like I hear so many people defending it, saying that, it can only spit out, like, as far as like ChatGPT, like, like screenwriters, why are you worried about it? It can only mimic and it can only do it badly. Yeah, right now. But what happens when it's more than that?
Right.
What happens when it's indistinguishable between a human being and a program? For one, I want to peer into someone's soul. And, another thing, too, you hear so many people, artists and non-artists, talk about how there's nothing new under the sun, no idea is original, and how everything's already been done and just it's a recopy in art in a way to justify this shit. First of all, I don't think that's true. I think the mind is infinite. I think creativity is infinite. It's limitless. Not everything has been done. Not everything has been thought of. Even if it reminds you of something else, it doesn't mean it is similar to that. I think a part of that is the human brain just can't help but make connections.
Absolutely.
100%. We try, in order to basically tell if our environment is safe or not, we try to distinguish, is it familiar, is it unfamiliar? If it's unfamiliar, is it a threat to me? And we so often think things are familiar when they're not. And I think that AI is, it's a plague on art. And again, I don't think artists should have to spend their time doing that, but it's good to know that someone is doing something.
Right.
So anything else, Rob, in addition to that? That was an interesting point, not a direction I expected.
Yeah, no, I don't have too much more on it right now, but if anyone listening wants to look further into this and whether or not the tools are available right now, they are called Nightshade and Glaze, and Professor Ben Zhao, Zhao, from the University of Chicago. He's the guy in charge of these programs.
I would like to be a fly in the wall, like him just going through AI art and probably just like constantly slapping himself in the face, like, what is wrong with these people?
Yeah, he seems to be very focused, like artist centric on this, because his main goal here is to create a powerful deterrent against disrespecting artist copyright and intellectual property.
You would have to feel that way to spearhead a project like this. This guy probably had to convince someone to give him funding, or maybe is even doing it in his free time. Mm. I'd be curious to know that, but that's a great point. So kind of staying on the same topic, but shifting gears as opposed to telling artists what they need, how can we give people advice to support artists in 2024? Chris Jones, what do you need? What kind of support do you need as an artist to take your game to the next level this year?
First of all, I need to get more work done and finish the work that I'm doing and have a schedule set up so I can either vend or have shows. So I'm showing my work and putting
that's a regular part of what you do in creating art in general. But what do you need from people to support you?
People to support me?
Yes.
Try to support me, help me buy my work, I suppose.
Okay.
Would be the share things about me, or maybe somebody might know, might like my work, like let them know about it and give them my website and things like that, word of mouth.
Okay.
People could help me.
What about you, Jay? What advice can you give people that will make them more supportive of what you do?
I mean, I have collectors who buy like at random, and that's always nice, is like being able to have people come back and buy work, and like it keeps it consistent in that way. I've thought of doing like a mystery box monthly to try to create like more of like a monthly income. But I mean, even that can be
how
difficult
much
for people.
how much would you charge for something like that?
That's the thing. To make it worth the time and effort, it would have to be a certain amount.
Like
But
what? Like what's, even if it's a range? Like
maybe
25 is probably too cheap.
Yeah, I would say somewhere between 25 and 50, but like that can be a lot for some people. It's a bill, you know what I mean?
And this can be subscription based, like once a month?
Subscription based.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, maybe
like
25 isn't that bad then.
But like that, people
What would
have,
you give them, like a
picture-
print and some stickers?
Yeah, print stickers, little original doodles, stuff like that. I've thought of doing like subscription based stuff, but it's difficult to try to not expect, but for people to like pay that monthly.
I mean, it is a lot, but honestly, it's a pretty cool idea that might be worth exploring.
Definitely.
Maybe give it like 6 months, and if it's not working, you hit the pause button.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of work because, I mean, let's say you have 20, 30 people that sign up for it. That's a lot of money, but that's a lot of individual boxes to make and mail.
Sure.
So it's difficult.
Okay, say you're out vending. How can someone support you? Like, is it they can't afford a $25 print? Do you have like $3 stickers? And if so, does that help out?
Yes. People always are buying like pins, stickers, or 5x7, stuff like that. $10, you know what I mean, for like a 5x7. I've had people like take video or picture of my stuff and then post it on like their Instagram and tag me. Stuff like that helps too.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's good too. If somebody does buy your piece,
come check out Jay at this spot here,
and they give you a shout out. That's always good.
It helps.
Yeah. And I think what we need is more artists supporting each other.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Because I think if you start with that core, all those
there's a joke
other people.
A joke that that artists just kind of pass around the same $50.
Yeah.
They sell it, then they buy a piece from you. That artist.
That is way too true.
It is. It's 100% true.
So many
Yeah,
events
absolutely.
we've been to.
100%
and
true.
even hosted ourselves.
Half my
100%.
art collection is just from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, from passing around.
And this is something that I had on my list. It tied in with artists, but for musicians. And one of the complaints I have with at least the local music scene, now it's getting better, but it's still a problem. There are a lot of bands, and there are a lot of musicians out there. And we have a lot of shows where I know their friends who are musicians aren't there. I think musicians need to make a better effort to attend shows of your friends who are musicians or in bands. That's a huge, huge thing. Because the way I look at it is, if artists and musicians aren't supporting each other, why should anybody else? I think it really starts there.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's like when we have shows here and a band will open and then they're gone before the last act is here. They're not supporting the same people that were on their bill.
No, that's a known
pretty
bitch
shitty.
move. That's a known bitch move that a lot of bands and promoters have a problem with. It's a big thing.
yeah,
If I was in a band, I'd be.
No, it's a lack of support. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I know there are situations where you have to leave early.
Sure.
There are certainly understandable situations, but there are too many cases where, yes, a band plays, they pack up their stuff and they leave. That's a bitch move.
Yeah, and their crowd goes with
That's
them.
kind of
Yeah.
because I'm watching the crowd and it just looks like they get bored and they're like gone.
But again, like, think about how many musicians in Lehigh Valley. If a show is literally just musicians' friends coming out, you're gonna have a packed show.
Sure.
And I'm not just talking about shows here. How many shows have we gone to where there's like no one there? It's like, this is a killer show and no one's here. And I know these guys got tons of friends. So again, if you're friends with a musician or someone that's in a band, try to get out and support them. Because I think that moving forward, that's going to be where artists make the majority of their money, musicians, off of whatever cut they're getting from the door and merch sales. I think that in 2024, for independent bands, that's going to be where the bulk of your income is coming from. Not from streaming. I mean, if you kill it on YouTube and you can monetize, that's different, but that's like a full-time job. I know people have monetized very quickly on YouTube, but they've had experience doing it leading up to it. If you like a band, buy their CD. and or a t-shirt, one or the other. But you gotta buy that CD. Because like I said on a previous episode, if you're banking on the sales from streaming on Spotify, it's 3,330 streams to make the same amount of income as selling one CD for $9.99. Just go and buy a CD from these guys. If they sell 10 CDs a night, they're going to be over the moon.
I try to buy a shirt from each band, whatever one I think is usually from Design.
Yeah,
But
we have a hell of a collection.
They're always good.
But yeah, I think that it's definitely important for if you are that type of person that has musician friends in your crowd, then you are definitely the type of person that should be going to live shows. It's just as much about the people playing the music as it is the music themselves. Like, they need that encouragement to keep going. Like, be a friend. Go do your thing.
And it's a lot of work to play a show. You got to practice. You got to load all your gear up. You got to transport it there. You got to load it in. You got to set it up. You got to tear it down. You got to take it back to practice spots. And that's a lot of work. And
and this is more of a personal gripe from like when I was in a band, but like nothing gets to me more than like when you have those friends or those people in your social group that like look down upon you for being a musician and like thinking that you're not taking life seriously or that's not like it's not a noble pursuit, but like they never come to the show. They don't see what it's like. They haven't heard.
And there's
the
like
music.
a cutoff, like, oh, you're over 25 and still playing in bands.
Yeah.
Like, music is not supposed to move me anymore. It's not supposed to be important any longer.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm sorry. There are certain things creatively that are only getting more important to me with passing time, not less.
Well, that's the problem. People equate success with money, and it's not necessarily.
Yeah.
One has really.
Well, that's
has
because this
nothing to do
country
with,
worships the businessman. The businessman has way too much power in this country. It's that simple. And art is, except in fringe markets, it's not a real market that makes money. So a lot of people don't take it serious. I mean, how many times we're a table of artists here? How many times have we collectively heard to get a real job?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? How offensive is that? Oh, you're not offended. Never mind. I was expecting an uproar of this is like getting some torches. No, everyone's like, yeah, whatever. Are you just all that jaded?
Honestly,
used to it, I guess, is the good term.
It like bounces off you.
Yeah.
You just because you just know, like, just not to be mean, but some people are just. They're
glue.
just ignorant. Some people are ignorant. They don't.
It's true.
Not to be mean, but they just don't understand.
It's true. Hopefully, this podcast can help to educate non-artists. That's a big thing that we try to do. That's why I'm on this topic right now of how someone can support an artist. Like, not everyone can afford a piece of art. Some people have crazy schedules and they can never make a show, ever. But yeah, like you said, the share. But it's not just like, just a simple share on social media isn't enough. Like, you can tell when it's meaningful, right? Like, what's the difference between, I guess you kind of already mentioned, a meaningful share and a just like throw you a bone share? Like, what's a meaningful share? Like, you're like, wow, that person really cares about what I do.
I kind of like when they tell me they're going to, and they kind of like, okay, can I get a video of this? Or I'm going to take a video quick. And it shows me that they're like into it rather than like a quick snippet of maybe it'll be like mine and then like the next person's. And it's like, while I appreciate it, it's not.
That's almost like
I mean?
using your phone in the bar. It's like an awkward, it's a way to get out of a situation.
Yeah, like I'm going to take a quick video and then they go to the next person and they do it. And again, it's like I appreciate any kind of shout out.
Because you never know who's going to see that.
That 2-second clip could be someone can like that painting a lot and then hit me up. That's just how it works. But when someone's like asking and they're like talking to me and stuff and, okay, what's your info? I'm going to tag you and, whatever. Yeah, it makes it a lot better.
What's the most beneficial way for someone to engage with your work on social media? Is it commenting, sharing?
Private messaging.
Private messaging.
Just right into the inbox.
How is that the most beneficial?
Because I check my DMs on like Instagram every day, and even like you have to watch out for like the spam, the requests and stuff. Which you'll get NFT stuff as an artist. You'll get,
Don't you want to have all that Bitcoin?
I collect, all that stuff. So now you have to like compete with that stuff.
You'll buy your art, and then you'll have fake money.
But yeah, just direct messaging.
That's the most.
Easiest.
What about you, Chris Jones? What's the best way for someone to engage with you on social media that's helpful?
I would say sharing.
Yeah.
With their audience, because it's just
like sharing to their story, their reel, something like that.
Their story or their reel, just to to the people that are on their feed. I just think it's good to get your art out to as many people as possible. That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm thinking about it now. This is almost like a pointless thing to ask because social media changes so much. By the time we record this and release it, it's all changed. So it's like, because right now everything is so driven around stories and reels. It's like disgusting. Like you can't get eyes on anything unless it's that.
They're trying. I just got a thing pop up. I posted a story, popped up, and it said something about like getting paid for stories.
Yeah.
So they're trying to like monetize you posting more stories, and they'll call it like a post streak, and then if you hit the post streak you get money. And like it's really weird.
A post streak should be you did so well with multiple posts in a row that you're legally allowed to like show nudes on Facebook for 24 hours.
It's like anything. Oh, you're real popular now, can I get a piece of you?
Right.
Like a percentage.
It's all about their advertisers. Their advertisers want what's popular. TikTok changed the game temporarily, as it always is. And now Facebook is trying to chase that with both IG and Facebook Reels, which to me, it's like, I hate it because like I'll see a reel and I'll click on it and then I just like, it's like 5 minutes later, I'm like, why am I watching these dumbass videos?
Yeah,
and then 2 minutes later, I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, what the fuck?
It gets you.
It's not cool.
Yeah, it's a
so
lot.
less and less, I'm trying not to even open these apps because when I open it up, I want to see cool movie stuff, pop culture stuff. There's some kind of emergency in the world I need to constantly worry about, which seems to be every day.
All the time.
Yep,
every day. It's worse.
Every day. But whatever. That's normal life now. But now it's just like, and so much of what we do, we don't do video. Like even this podcast is audio only.
Right.
Like there's this major debate. If you go on podcasts like groups, there's constant debate about whether or not to have video with your podcast, which is crazy because podcasting is literally an audio format.
Right.
Like video podcasts are a separate thing, but the fact that it's become so synonymous, video with podcasting, is like, why are we trying to cram this down everyone's throat? We eventually, maybe
YouTube is
probably
where it started.
They're trying to get money from the podcast game.
Yeah,
so.
it's all the advertisers, even the reels and stuff. When you watch them on Facebook, now they have on the bottom of every single one. You notice that an ad, every single reel.
Every day I'll put something up of art I'm working on or a piece I've already done just to see. And I've gotten people be like, oh, is that available? And even if it's not, I've gotten commissioned. So I just always make sure it's something different every day.
Yeah, you're also racing the algorithm, which is like works against artists. So like if you post your art, you may not have as many people interact as if you posted like a selfie or something. Apparently there's like they have like some kind of detection for like photographs.
So they're treating you more like you're a business, like a flower business.
And they want you to like buy ads and stuff like that. So.
Just like or you're selling
Well, it's like Javen pointed out, anytime you post ads or anytime you post links that take you away from their website, they don't push that.
Yeah, I don't post my Etsy or my website. Like, I won't post links.
Nobody will see it
on a painting because it won't get any traction.
Nobody will see it.
I don't do links, but I put my website.
Yeah,
But it's like just my name.com.
Well, and let's be honest, who wants to sell their art through Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, no, I've never tried Marketplace.
I've never done that.
I mean, unfortunately, it'll probably be great because
I only tried that Facebook
I don't think
that
I've
thing one
seen,
time,
like,
and all it was
we should do it almost as a social experiment. Take photos of your studio and some artwork
and a hassle.
You're gonna get the sea of lowballers.
Yeah.
Or honestly, you know what I'd be worried about with Facebook Marketplace trying to sell your artwork there? Some idiot just trying to paint it themselves. Like they'll steal the image, like they'll steal the photo off of Facebook and they'll buy themselves like a craft store canvas and they'll try to do it themselves.
I mean, don't get me wrong, you probably could make some sales out of it, but the downside probably outweigh the upside. And do you want a bunch of those random ass people on Facebook Marketplace coming and snoop around your studio when no one's here? And
that's the thing. It takes a lot of money to weed all that out, so you're wasting all that time with this.
I don't think Facebook
BS.
Marketplace is the place.
Which again, this goes back to the best thing artists can do is vend. And there's no advertisement, there's no pop-ups, there's no algorithm. Hey, I'm going out to this event and this person happens to be there, and that's it.
Yep. Right, and you can deal with the people face to face. There's no filter. You're just talking to somebody.
But Jay, you make a lot of your sales online, though, don't you?
The majority of my sales are online. The second would be vending. Yeah, with vending, I mean, like, one of the biggest pluses is that you're not giving any percentages away. You keep everything that you make, and you make the money that day.
Unless it's the art museum. Sorry, I had to go there.
Let's not talk about.
We won't.
That.
Right, you pay your fee, and then
So
once you make that money,
make
it's
the
all
100% of
profit.
it.
So I'm curious, Jay, at one point, was your main source of income from your art, was it vending?
At one point, it would have been vending more. No, you know what? I have to say, honestly, personally, with my art career, it's been online always. Etsy was like the biggest.
Because I was curious
one.
if it was vending when that shift happened and why, if you knew. So, but if it's always been online.
It's kind of always been online.
Okay.
Yeah. I started selling prints on Etsy when I was doing celebrities and stuff like that. I sold a lot through Etsy.
Yeah.
And then as I progressed with showing work at galleries and stuff, I kind of shifted selling prints and stuff to selling paintings.
Now, but I think because you were doing celebrity stuff, I think it was easier for you because it was pop culture related.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
For non-pop art, I'm sure it's a totally different story.
Yeah.
That's where vending is going to be your main source.
Right.
Unless you're in with a good gallery.
No, you find a good vending event and you have a decent setup, you're going to make money.
What about you, Chris Jones? Where's the bulk of your income from your art come from? Vending or online?
I'd say this past year, the vending and the gallery, I had a pretty good sale there. But the vending and commissions, and maybe through social media, seeing my prints, when I push those, I've sold prints like that. So
now I'm curious, when both of you, Jay and Chris Jones, both of you, when you do an event, when you vend, do you see you get a lot more followers on social media?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I'm telling everybody, because I have a
QR code.
QR. Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
QR code, and that goes right to my website. Or I'll just tell people do you have Instagram? Would you want to
Follow
add
me right now. Give me
Yeah.
your phone.
Literally, and people will
Yeah.
give me their phone, and
Yeah.
I type my name in, and there you go.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll have organically at the end of a night 7 or 8 new people.
Well, and think about that. I think you are still benefiting from vending a lot more than you realize as far as those sales, because I'm sure some of those commissions are from people that followed you.
Yes.
May not have bought art at that vending event.
Yes.
I still think vending is the most important thing for art,
even
if more of your money is coming from online. Now, once you're established enough as an artist, you can say, fuck it, I'm going to do whatever I want. That's the goal. You have your website. People know you. They seek you out. But until you get to that point, I think vending is where you need to focus.
But when you're saying art online, though, it's either from your website, but it's not from Etsy anymore. Or I mean, you don't.
I recommend artists avoid those sites.
Yeah, I do.
So I tried it. I just never liked it. I still have my stuff
sales
on eBay because it's free. They take a percentage, but I don't really sell anything off of there anymore. But I just keep it on because it's on, and maybe once a year I'll
How
sell.
often do you sell on Etsy, Jay?
Piece.
It's very sporadic. The last
How many pieces in a year, roughly?
On Etsy.
10 to 20 in that realm.
Interesting.
So
okay.
once a month.
But that's
pretty good.
just keeping it up without I don't even advertise it. So that's people generally from Etsy that find my stuff.
Looking around.
I don't think it's too much of people that know my work that go to Etsy
Absolutely.
to buy it.
Etsy, and that's if there was one reason to use Etsy, it's because each thing kind of has its own audience.
I'm pro Etsy, but my personal journey with Etsy is specific to my own. I don't know if it's something that I would blanketly say you should definitely get one.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend most artists.
I do.
Maybe it's just
shy
my
away
stuff
from
never. I don't think my stuff
In
ever
general,
worked
you
on
should
there
try
because I don't know. I tried it.
You should try it out.
Maybe I'll try it.
It's 20 cents to post each listing. The
Is that
listing
it?
stays up for 3 months. You can
Renews.
Thank you. It's 20 cents each listing, and then it stays up for 3 months, and then you can either auto renew it or just manually renew it yourself. So it's
all
not
right. Maybe
that bad.
I'll check it out again.
I mean, I would
Because
recommend it for
eBay's
you.
not doing anything
you have,
for me
You have pop
anymore.
art stuff, Chris Jones, so it'll probably work for you.
But one of the biggest things that you make sure you have to do if you do create an Etsy, one of the number one things I would say is to make sure that you utilize all the hashtags that you're able to use. I think you get 13 per listing. That's how people are able to find your stuff. If someone wants pop art of Marilyn Monroe, they can type in Marilyn Monroe pop art. Your stuff's going to pop up.
Right, okay.
So you have to definitely utilize those for sure.
Yeah, I might as well try it out.
Do you put DIY in a lot of yours?
I don't think I've put DIY, no.
Because I'm sure Etsy, those folks are always on the DIY hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've never used DIY personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think in certain cases, like with pop art, I think Etsy is better because it's like you said, your followers are not coming to Etsy. It's going to be people finding your stuff.
Generally.
And
So-
I think the average Etsy user isn't looking at buying original art per se. So them stumbling upon, oh, Marilyn Monroe, this piece is unique and cool. I think they're looking to buy that because it stands out among other themed works.
Right.
So that would make sense. Any other requests from the public of how to make you rich as an artist? Any of you? Scrooge McDuck that so you could swim around in your art pennies and coins.
Ooh, I've got a good one.
Yeah.
If you know of, small to medium sized like businesses, local mom and pop businesses that are open to, having a more artistic flair or looking for creative help, introduce the artists that you know to those people. Get yourself maybe a logo job or a label design for one of their products, or you can collaborate on,
or even
some
if
sort
they
of
had
design stuff.
had your work for sale, and
even if it's just another
in their
place to show work.
establishment.
Exactly, yeah.
For sure. All really good ideas. So I'm curious, does anyone, it's New Year's. I don't know if you guys do resolutions or not. I don't do resolutions. I more like look at things as goals.
Right.
I don't know does anyone here have any goals or aspirations for this year?
Hyper specific is like the clothing thing. Having your art on stuff is like powerful. That's something that I want to like brand a little bit more. Like with my Stink comic, like I want to get like a 3D or 3D printed like little characters.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So when I release the comic, I'll have like a character that'll go with it.
Yeah.
And just like
Awesome.
seeing my art as
Oh, that's a
things,
great
you know.
idea.
Yeah.
So
Anything else? Anything else you want to like focus on this year?
I would like some kind of art breakthrough, but I mean
Yeah.
that has to kind of happen naturally.
You going through
in
a
a
creative
way.
block right now?
A lot of it, but
Yeah.
I still like work on stuff, like it's first nature. So when I go to paint, like I can still make something, but I'm looking for, I don't know. I'm considering maybe either taking like a class for anatomy or YouTube University, doing it that way, like just trying to teach myself anatomy and then going back into like my style. Like
You should have went with Rob last night. Would have taught you all about the anatomy.
I mean, limited
had it
parts
at
of it, but
home.
parts of the
But how have you dealt with creative blocks in the past? Like, what have you done? Maybe some useful tips for someone else that might be going through that. Because it's funny, because there's like 2 or 3 other artists I'm talking to right now that are going through creative blocks. I don't know if it's this time of year or what's going on.
It might be. I'll say this: overall, in the summer, I paint more when it's nicer
It's more
out.
free flowing.
It's more my speed. Like
Okay.
this time of year is not my speed.
I think it's good if you have goals that you're gonna do. Say, I'm gonna have this event and I'm gonna vend in
Yeah.
a month, and then you're like, oh, I want to get all this stuff done, and then you work.
Yeah, I think goals and deadlines are so helpful to artists for sure.
Yeah, if you don't have a goal or a deadline, you could just
It's difficult to self-motivate, for sure.
Yeah, you gotta like get yourself started.
Yeah, I would recommend, for a creative block, the 2 best things are, number 1, like Chris Jones just said, set a little goal. Even if it's a small goal, like little goals will add up, and at the very least, you're going to get that dopamine little rush there, and it's going to, maybe if you're in a funk, if you're in a mood, that could be enough to snap you out of it. And I think the other really helpful piece of advice for those suffering from a creative block is go take a walk.
Yeah.
Walks are incredibly important.
Get some
I agree
new
with that one.
stimulus.
I have,
something
and because lately, so I spent a lot of time. So my holiday break was, I got immediately sick after our holiday party. I was super sick for over a week. And then as soon as I was feeling better, I was painting all the studios and basically the hallway on the 4th floor, getting ready for resident artists that are coming in. And I did get to watch some films, but I made it a point to write more. And I kept, like, I'm working on a screenplay. I was talking to Jay a little bit about it. It started as a short thing. Now it's morphed into a feature thing. I just can't help myself. It's how it goes. But I kept stumbling with that transition of it going from a short to a feature, a creative block of what to do, because I had some ideas, which was what was making me want to make it a feature, but the meat of why it should be that, which is funny because meat is a part of it, literally, I couldn't grasp. And I literally just went and walked around out back in the basement for a few minutes, and literally when I came back and sat back down, one idea came out that all these ideas followed. So I went from abruptly ending it and making it a short to wholeheartedly agreeing and making it a feature and having those ideas to take it there from just a few minute walk.
Yeah,
and I'm in a
powerful.
And we're in the middle of an annoying ass neighborhood. It's not quiet. It's not pleasant. It's not. There's no nature aside from our garden, which
got that
looks like hell right now
going
because
to your brain, and then
the change of environment,
clearer.
like get away from your computer, get away from your easel, whatever it is you're creating on. Sometime that disconnecting for a few minutes is everything. It really can be. Like I literally experienced this yesterday. So I know you're going through it, Jay, right now. Try taking a little walk.
Definitely, it's a big one. Yeah, I think another big one that's helpful, at least for me, is just looking at the work of people that I admire and that I love, and even if it's the way that they drew an eye, maybe I take something from that, and it like kind of eases something new that I'm like not used to, or a colorway that I maybe wouldn't have thought of, and because all I did was take this colorway, I've still created something completely new, and I was inspired by something that it's very powerful to just simply look at. Like,
that's a great point, because I, going through my own creative block recently, did the same thing. I started watching a bunch of films, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't repeating any tropes that would show up in a lot of films.
Right.
Because for me, it's like I don't want to just do the same thing. Like, again, no idea is original. Like, people would say that constantly about films. I think you can make completely original films that no one's ever seen anything like. I think 500 years from now, that statement can still be true.
Right.
So that helped me get out of it.
That's true, because I've seen some films that don't fit the mold.
Like Brazil, Terry Gilliam's Brazil.
Brazil's a great
What
film.
else can you compare that to?
Nothing.
Nothing. Not even his other films. Baron Munchausen, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the Monty Python stuff.
Well,
they're all wholly unique.
I read that I guess he wanted to do 1984, but they made that one with that other one that I didn't really like.
Yeah,
with Anthony Hopkins, so he had to make...
That almost feels like a made-for-TV movie.
So Brazil is like 1984, but not
his
1984.
Own version. So he got to do his own thing, even better.
Right.
So what about
great,
Rob and Chris Jones? Any goals or aspirations for the new year here, personally or artistically?
So I am my artistic goal for 2024 is to get back into tattooing. Not quite like full blown commercially, but finding a way to make regular or semi regular tattooing a part of my artistic routine.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Okay,
nice.
Awesome. That's a nice little surprise.
Hell yeah.
What about you, Dr. Jones?
Well, again, I have all this furniture, so I want to do art furniture, which did years ago, and I want to do some more paintings and vend, maybe have a show, and work and get myself in shape, get my knees better, and so I have more energy and just work more.
Yes.
Travel
Travel
together.
too. Always
I was
travel.
hoping somebody was going to say that. That's on
Yeah,
my
totally
list. Of course.
right. And travel, right? But right now, my mindset right now, the first day of the year is about surviving.
Yeah, fair
Then we'll-
enough.
Right?
Fair
But
enough.
I would definitely love to travel.
That's definitely on the list, and that's
it's
on my
early-
list. I have a few things on mine. Traveling is one of them. I've never left the country. I've never left the United States. I've been to Canada when I was a kid, but that doesn't really count to me. This year, I will step foot on foreign soil, whether that be somewhere in South America or even potentially Japan. But even aside from those bigger trips, we got a lot of trips scheduled for this year. Like I'm about 4.5 weeks away from New Orleans. I'm going back there, and I can't wait. And it's Mardi Gras season, so it's going to be wild as hell, and I'm going to eat so much food. I personally, one of the things that's been bothering me a lot with myself is I have all these amazing books around me, and I don't read as much as I would like.
I'm
So
guilty myself.
reading is definitely one of the main things I want to incorporate more time in my life for. And because there's so many great things out there that I'm just like, yeah, you could watch a documentary or watch a quick video or something like this. But reading is like really taking the time.
I used to read all the time. I don't read a book. I read my phone, but
so I want to focus on that. I got a stack of great books that I've been meaning to get to, and there's actually I just picked up on the book. I don't have it yet, but Rick Rubin just put out a book about creativity, and I bought that because you guys know who Rick Rubin is. He's the
producer.
Producer to like Beastie Boys, and I mean he's amazing. And I always see these videos and these quotes of him talking about creativity and art and artists. And it is so in line with everything we feel as a group of artists who kind of are working towards similar goals. And and it's long too. It's like almost 500 pages long, a lot longer than you would expect from something like this. So I'm really excited to dig into that. I want to talk a little bit about what people can expect from the Alternative Gallery in 2024. Jay, what are you expecting to see from the AG this year?
I mean, with the resident artist program happening, I feel like us creating the like everyday community of the place. I'm excited for that to happen, and it's on its way, so it's exciting.
Yeah. What about you, Rob?
I think one of the things I'm most excited for is to continue with the travel stuff and to really get the gallery established as something that's in people's minds outside of the Lehigh Valley. I'm really looking forward to there being, people in other states, other cities that know what we're doing here and, and are interested in following us, interested in working with us, and interested in, maybe even trying to kickstart something like this where they are.
I like that answer a lot because I think, no diss to anyone, but right now, I mean, the area is just, it's like a desert, and we can only survive here right now. Like, we can't flourish. Like, we're holding ourselves back by waiting for things to be better here. It doesn't mean we have to fully abandon the area, but I think our priorities are definitely shifting, and our focus is set on other cities and places that, frankly, we need to collaborate with if we want to keep this growing and going. Chris Jones, what are your aspirations and goals for the new year here?
Yeah, I have to agree with the traveling and spreading the word about the gallery. And having more people come down here, like Jay was talking about the artist program. So that'll be good. Like the more people expanding, will be more people that'll be involved down here. And that'll just make things better.
Yeah, we have a great group of artists coming in, which we're going to announce probably this week. And they were supposed to move in this week, but the heat is broken on the 4th floor right now.
Oh, jeez.
So it's pretty cold up there right now. So hopefully we'll get it straightened out this week, but we're waiting for that to happen in order to start. And as soon as we figure that out, we're going to announce who our 2024 resident artists are. It's a really amazing group. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it sounds exciting. I'm looking forward to an open house too, right?
Yeah, open house.
Yeah,
Cool.
Open house is going to be real good
Open
once you get
houses
everyone
are
moved in and
always
settled.
So for anyone wondering, we don't have a date locked in yet, but it's going to be March or April for the next open house, which will be about the halfway point for our resident artist program, so they can get settled in, get some work done, and then they can show off what they've been working on while, like, we want their studios to feel a little bit lived in and used, and not just like, oh yeah, these guys just got here 2 weeks ago, check it out. We want those roots to actually take hold and to showcase what they're doing. And then my hope is that by the time we wrap up that initial 6-month program and we're starting the next round, you have a mix of that open house of like the cap of that 6-month program with potentially the next wave of artists overlapping. That'll be really clutch if we can do that. Because obviously these artists were coming in, the program is for 6 months, but the intention is to keep them longer than 6 months. But we were able to work something out for 6 months. That's going to be, I'm really excited about that. I think it's, aside from traveling, it's the biggest highlight. But, so we're saying traveling very plainly. Are there specific places that you want to travel? I know we talked to Portland.
Portland's like
LA.
big one.
Los Angeles.
I mean, I'll go back to Seattle any day, and that's smack dab in the middle of So,
both. Yeah.
So basically, Pacific
the West
Northwest,
Coast,
West Coast,
the whole West Coast.
Yeah, absolutely. I have never been to Portland. I've never been to the Pacific Northwest. It's like the only part of the country I haven't been to yet. So I'm excited about that. We got some friends out there, Andy being one of them in Portland, and I mean, just just all the amazing people she's told me about, both on the podcast and off the podcast. It's just, I can't wait to get out there. I think there is a larger sensibility that leans towards what we do from the greater populace than we get here.
When she moved out there, did she know anybody, or did she meet all these people when she was
She
there?
lived there, I think she said like 20 years ago or something like that.
So she knew a few, but it's still a good community.
I think it was mostly her either meeting or reacquainting herself with people.
Okay.
Yeah, but at the same time, she's always traveling. So it's not like, artists who are locked in one place.
Right.
She knows people from all over the place. So I think for her, it's different. And that's why, going back to Rob's point, that's why we need to travel, is so much of the alternative gallery the last decade has been about Valley artists. We're in a major flux right now, and we need to tie in more than just Valley artists to keep this going. So when we go to LA, Chris Jones, we got to check out some galleries and we got to check out some kind of festival. Have you been doing your research?
I have. I'm waiting to hear back from my friend who lives out there in a couple of galleries, so I'm looking. I didn't really check into festivals, but that's a good idea.
Yeah, we're thinking maybe April, right? So we should get plane tickets
maybe
soon.
like April.
Because
that's soon though. April.
I know, but we're also potentially thinking May for Portland. So y'all gonna have to pick and choose. I'm going everywhere. I don't care. I have to run some credit cards or what. Like I'm gonna live my life. I'm tired of being stuck and not doing stuff.
I hear you.
And I feel like we need to make a lot of progress in a short period of time. Frankly, I would like to go to Portland, LA, and Seattle all in one trip. And I might do that.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
I might do that. Because the most expensive part of this is getting the airfare out there. The hotel aspect's not great either. I know you were saying, Jay, Airbnbs, but I feel like Airbnbs are starting to actually become more expensive than hotels now.
That I'm not sure of.
We're going to have to look into that. I know we looked at some Airbnbs and some Vrbo, right?
Vrbo, yep.
Vrbo. Mm-hmm. That's where we got the place for Asheville, which was fucking clutch.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was nice.
That place was a dream. Yeah, we were all there. That's right. So I don't have to paint a picture
remember.
for anyone.
Yeah, that was true. If you fly out, you could just drive the coast.
Yeah.
Pacific Highway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think in Portland you need a car, but I mean, obviously in LA you'll definitely need a car. You don't want to. I mean, I guess any mode of transportation is going to be rough
LA's
out there.
everything's highway.
Yeah, public transit, but do you want to deal with that? So if anyone's listening and you're either from LA or are hip to what's happening there and you recommend any events we should check out, please let us know, because it very well may determine when we go. Not that we have to go out during any specific event, but like for something like LA, this first trip, I'm more inclined to just go out there and check things out and then set up a show after.
Definitely. Yeah,
I guess that's true.
I prefer it loose the first time going.
Portland maybe have an event because I think that we have, I don't know, I think there's more potential to do an event in Portland right now than LA. That's based off no information, but I just feel like that's true.
I just feel like that's true.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll have to. Well, yeah, I got to start checking things out for
go.
For real.
I saw the thing pop up today. It was when someone changed the Hollywood sign to Hollyweed.
Right.
And Steve-O took a selfie in front of it, and he's like, I can't believe somebody got away with this. Like, I love that shit. That was pretty funny. When we got to check out some of the touristy things too, I imagine, right? They're touristy for a reason.
Yeah. I mean,
you see, Chris
Jones.
I
don't know what touristy thing I'd
you
want to
do. No. You want to do touristy stuff, but it's scumbag touristy.
Yeah, I like to go to I like the sleazy parts of LA.
Exactly. It's just your walk of fame, your Hollywood walk of fame.
Bukowski bars, none of them exist anymore, though.
Yeah.
They're all done.
No, there's still some, aren't there?
Maybe. I'd have to see.
There's the one where they have the statue of Lemmy from Motorhead.
Yeah, what is that?
I was going to say, we just go on a quest to play Lemmy's old
poker machine. It's where he drank all the time. He's actually in that the Lemmy documentary he did, which is fantastic, by the way.
Oh, I have to check that out.
You've never seen it?
No.
I'm about to hop on a Blu-ray copy of it. It's on my list right now.
Yeah,
so.
I'd like to see that because he's an interesting guy. He was an interesting guy.
Yeah, all he would do is just smoke cigarettes and play like the video poker. That was it. Surprisingly, some of the best Motorhead albums came out towards the end of his life. He just got way more gnarly and, I guess, meaningful in his own way.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that because I was, a lot of the punk bands in the 70s were, the Dams were friends with them and stuff. So he's...
Motorhead was birthed out of his shenanigans in Hawkwind.
Right.
He was too
So
fucked
he seemed
up for
like
that
an
band.
interesting guy, and I like that he had like was friends with the young like punk rockers.
You'll love a documentary.
Yeah. At the time they were young.
It is the LA that you
now.
seek. Mm-hmm. Too bad Lemmy isn't there to go hang out and have a drink with him, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just got so much history. Hollywood. I like the sleazy stories about Hollywood and the hotels out there.
Yeah.
And the murders.
Oh, the murders, yeah.
The murders.
The one thing we forgot to touch upon was the public domain thing. We'll talk about that briefly before we wrap it up here.
What do you mean, like the free Steamboat Willie?
Yeah, so
that's one of them.
As of today, January 1st, 2024, thousands of copyrighted works from 1928 will enter the U.S. public domain, along with sound recordings from 1923. Now, I have this write-up here, which is from the Center for the Study of the Public Domain. They release this great write-up every year on January 1st, letting people know what is in the public domain. This article is written by Jennifer Jenkins. She is the director of the Duke Center for the Study of the Public Domain. So it's like, this is the best of the best of the best. So a bunch of interesting things went into the public domain, things that were currently copyrighted that now, because of their age, are now available to the public to use however you see fit. I mean, All Quiet on the Western Front, the original German version of it, you can literally take that text and sell your own book legally on Amazon. Not saying you should do that, but that's the extent to which some of these works can be reused and incorporated into your project in a number of ways. Now, the plays and the novels, that's a little bit more difficult for how artists can utilize that. But what's, I think, really striking with the potential for artists are the films and the sound recordings. So a number of films went in, including the cameraman from Buster Keaton, who's one of my favorite movie stars of all time, my favorite silent movie star.
Buster Keaton, he was a
slapstick comedian.
Yeah, incredibly athletic.
Yeah. The Circus by Charlie Chaplin, The Passion of Joan of Arc, the Singing Fool, which is a sequel to The Jazz Singer. So you have a lot of really important historical films which are now in the public domain. And the reason why I think this is interesting, if you're making a music video or some kind of art project, this is really cool to be able to utilize as an independent filmmaker, being able to take these clips and maybe having it on a television without having to pay a copyright. Same thing with the music. But now, yes, the big one here is Mickey Mouse is finally in the public domain.
That's crazy.
Technically.
Yeah. There's a lot of red tape.
Every pop artist has done a Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse is 3 circles. That's how simple it is.
This is a specific Mickey Mouse.
This is from Steamboat Willie and Plane Crazy. They're two films directed by Walt Disney and Ub Iwerks back in 1928. Now Disney championed like hell to keep these rights forever, and they actually got the United States government to agree to hold all copyrights for 20 years, meaning nothing entered the public domain, not just Disney stuff. For 20 years, no new films, music, texts, or anything entered the public domain because of Disney fighting to keep Mickey.
But what is the public domain law? Like, after how many years does something become public?
I believe it is 70 years, or there's, depending what it is, there's different lengths of time. For some things mediums. It's the life of the author plus 50 years.
Okay, right. Yeah, you're right, because that's how right.
Some it's 70 years. So now you have films from 1928, but only audio recordings from 1923, which doesn't make any sense. Now, what's exciting to me about this is I'm obviously a huge jazz freak. I love jazz. So now, 1923, you're getting to the point where some of the greatest jazz records ever cut were released. So not that I want to release anything on my own, but the fact that, again, as an independent filmmaker, this opens up free use of things is amazing. Not that I don't want to support independent creators who are alive now, but again, not having money myself is kind of a holdback for something like that. So, but the Steamboat Willie, that is a certain type of Mickey. Now, the only real difference is he has a little hat on.
He looks like a rat.
And he doesn't have the gloves yet either. The
Yeah,
gloves
that's right. He doesn't have the
gloves
gloves.
and the red pants.
So
aren't a thing
Disney
yet.
still has the copyright to other versions of Mickey, and they will be enforcing that. And I mean, let's be honest. This is what's going to happen here. Anyone that tries to use Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse, Disney's still going to try to go after him.
Definitely.
It's going to happen.
100%.
And it's going to be up to the courts to decide whether or not you violated copyright law or not, and who can fight Disney.
Right.
So if you go,
but like I was saying, so many artists use Disney. Like Ron English does all those Marilyns with Mickey Mouse or her breasts. Like,
yeah, but that's
directly.
But that's satire, though.
yeah,
That's not.
it depends on
yeah.
certain situations.
Like we're talking about literally taking film scene by scene, Steamboat Willie, frame for frame, and selling it as your own.
So I can sell a copy of that. I just cannot mislead the public to thinking that it's Disney selling it or that I have any affiliation with Disney.
right.
Okay.
So
He could
Well,
sell
that's just, I
Brandon
always
Wonder
thought,
presents Steamboat Willie.
Like pop artists never really get sued. You can do like a Warhol with the Brillo.
well, not
pad.
never.
But I guess he lost that lawsuit like just a little bit ago.
But it's
in his-
because
his estate about altering, like using a photograph.
Well, now it's become more
altering
difficult to get away with copyright infringement and that kind of stuff in art because things are a lot more trackable, and it's easier to catch someone.
Right, but I think because I do the same thing, taking a photo and breaking it down to a simpler thing and then doing a piece of art off that, I'm not taking that photograph and reprinting it and selling it. I'm interpreting it.
It's
and
all in
selling
how
it. And the Supreme Court, Andy Warhol did the same thing to a photograph of Prince, and they decided that he was guilty of,
copyright infringement. Yeah.
of this photograph, but he changed it.
It's all about
which
how,
is kind of weird to do to somebody who's dead.
It's all about how aggressive
40
somebody
years.
wants to be with their own copyrighted works. Now, a company like Disney, they're the most aggressive.
Right.
And even if you are totally within your rights, the second they file a lawsuit for copyright infringement, unless the courts immediately see it as frivolous and throw it out on their own, are you going to fight Disney? Even if you're well within your rights.
You'll never fight Disney. My point is, why would the Supreme Court even do that in this day of age of something? Because the photographer, and what is the photographer going to get now?
Well,
money from the Warhol estate. I can see that with a photographer.
Think about
But
how many
Disney's
families
a
from a famous
corporation.
artist want to just milk that artist's legacy so they themselves don't have to work.
Right.
That's probably most famous artists, I would imagine.
This is what I'm saying. The person that did that wanted to make money off just to make money.
So we could talk about that issue all day. Honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Disney should have lost that shit years ago. I mean, what I think is really cool with the music is the Library of Congress actually has, let me look it up here. They have the Library of Congress National Jukebox. So everything that is now in the public domain, you can go on the Library of Congress's website and get for free.
Well, that's
and
good.
Everything that went live today, you can download from there too. And everything that's going to go in the public domain next year, you can stream, but you can't yet download it till January 1st of next year. So you can literally go on the Library of Congress's website, loc.gov, and go to the National Jukebox, and you can play every single song that hit today. And it's amazing. And I think right there for musicians, for filmmakers, that is an invaluable tool that can be utilized. Again, because you can see how that can help someone, but it's like how does the text from a play or the German version of All Quiet on the Western Front, how does that help an artist? But I'm sure you can see how sound recordings can help artists, especially independent artists, right?
Oh, sure.
How do you think they could benefit an artist, Jay? All this stuff entering the public domain. Are there any ideas you're getting for how this can be useful?
Not from my work personally, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who are into videography and things like that they'll be able to kind of pick and choose what they want from certain things that are becoming public domain.
I know copyright. I mean, that's a very, very, very complex issue. It's important because I can write a screenplay or make a movie, and someone can say, "Hey, that's mine. He has nothing to do with it. I want all the money for that." And then when I'm screwed, so we need those protections as artists. But I think too much, the copyright laws they benefit the big companies at the expense of the little guy, and things entering the public domain. I feel like that helps the little guy, but it hurts the big companies. So it's evening the odds a little bit. That's the way I see it. So not that things should be for free, but sometimes free stuff is great.
Sometimes.
Free's good.
Free's good.
What's your favorite free thing, Chris Jones? Free pizza.
Free food.
Free breakfast.
See, we all said food.
Free breakfast.
None of us, we never even, no.
It just tastes
food.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, free food.
Good.
Well, maybe these companies that we talk shit about giving pizza parties, maybe they're onto something.
Wow, those are different. No, I've been to those pizza parties. Ain't nothing free about that pizza.
Wow.
Right, and that's the thing. Like we know that
true.
like real good things. If you aren't for free, there's always a catch.
Yeah, they're paying you in
Nothing's for
pizza
free.
instead of the whole.
Instead of giving you a Christmas bonus.
Yeah.
Instead of a Christmas bonus, you get a sheet cake, and everybody sings.
So I think some other things that we can look forward to from the gallery in 2024 are more art shows.
Definitely.
Yep, I think art show.
I was thinking of another sticker show. Would be really
that would
cool.
be great.
Yeah.
Hey,
Would be really
if you
cool.
want to start organizing it, do it now, and we'll pick a date and just go with it.
Let's do it.
We could even coincide it with the open house if you want.
That we can do that. Let's do. That's perfect. Let's do it. Stickers.
Let's do that. Maybe hit up
Sticker
Ashley
show.
Bauer. Ashley Bauer's going to come out
That'd
for
be cool.
one last job.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Right. Ashley Bauer's great at that stuff.
Definitely.
Again, the Brandon Dominguez show was so great. I want to have more stuff like that,
Definitely.
even if it's just one night shows like that.
Yes.
They're very
Yes.
lively.
Right.
So more art shows. For me, this is going to be a year of film, both personally and as far as the gallery. Our very first event of the year was supposed to be the Dusty Cans Part 2 screening this Sunday, January 7th at the Emmaus Theater. They had a schedule change, so we had to move it back. So now it's January 28th, 1 to 3 p.m., 16 millimeter films, some of those films of which we saved last year. This one's going to be different from the Dusty Cans, the first one. It's not going to be just films we saved. It's going to be a mix of everything from our archive.
Nice.
That was a special one just for people that helped donate to that cause and help us save those films. So a bunch of those, and we want to take that on the road eventually. We don't know what that's going to look like or when, but also the animation festival is coming back this year in July. And we had spoken, you and I, Jay, about condensing that 4-day festival into a one-night screening that we can take from city to city and show those works.
Definitely.
That to me is so necessary. And I want to make that happen. So this is the year of film for me and for the gallery. I want to do a lot of screenings, both at the AG and other locations, including around the country. We already touched upon it traveling. We already touched upon this too, the resident artist program, which are going to be starting this week. Hopefully the artists are moving in this week. And another one for me is growing the podcast. I think it's really important, the work that we're doing here with this podcast. I think it gives voice to those that maybe aren't connecting with audiences in this way. I mean, a lot of people I bring on have never done a podcast before, which I think is interesting. And they're fascinating people. It's like, how has Andy never been on a podcast? Right? I mean, Ray Garris has been on some podcasts. Glenn Tickle's been on some podcasts. But the majority of people I bring on here, Cody Kilbanks. She's done all the shows I grew up with loving. No one thought to invite her on a podcast.
Right.
What is wrong with you people? Like, come on. She's amazing. Just because she's in a household name, trust me, she's more interesting than a lot of the household names you're trying to get.
Definitely.
But speaking of trying to get, I want to work towards, of course, we're still going to bring in local artists and stuff like that. And like you mentioned the one episode, Jay, we're still trying to get through so many of those local artists that we work with. But I don't want to just have local artists. I want to start building it up. And I have dream guests that I'd like to bring on, like huge guests. And once we work our way towards getting those, I think it's going to be great for the podcast and it's going to be great for the gallery to get some bigger names. Like, think about who's come out of this area. Amanda Seyfried. I mean, she graduated from William Allen High School. She is one of the best actresses of our generation. I would love to have her on the podcast. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who, from what we know, wrestled in this building when the Wild Samoans
crazy.
rented here, who were his uncles.
Right.
So The Rock, if you're listening, which you're not, but if you are, please come and talk to us because it'll be interesting and it'll bring us a hell of a lot of listens, and that could benefit all the artists we work with. And that's kind of what I want the gallery to be, is this thing that all the people we work with, they get support and they get attention on what they do because they're working with us.
Right.
That's what the AG needs to be. I don't want to build the podcast or the gallery into this big thing so we can pat ourselves on the back and talk about all this great stuff we do. I want it to benefit these awesome creators that we all know, that I think deserve a lot more love, and they should be ditching that bullshit full-time job they're doing, or multiple part-time jobs or juggling, and let these creative endeavors be their one and only thing they get to focus on. Because that's what life's about. It's about these experiences you get to do, and artists know what they want to do. Chris Jones is falling apart over here.
Yeah, I'm about to have a coughing fit.
Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Black lung.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for this episode. It's been a supersized, fun episode to start the year off with. I'm really excited about things that we have coming up this year. Hopefully, Jay can get over that creative block and get some fantastic works pumping out of that studio up there.
Part of the process.
It's like we all go through it. And that's why I said I think it's important we talk about it. And I think we should spend more time in future episodes talking about creative blocks and what people have done to combat it, because I know me, I hit it several times a year. Sometimes I go in and out of it in one day, there and back, boom. But I think 2024 is going to be a very full year. I think it's going to be a creative year. It's going to be a year of adventure for us, starting with my trip to New Orleans next month, which I'm stoked for. And I'm excited that we can all do this together. And we got, some great open house events coming up in the future, and the return to the Americas. We haven't done anything there in a while.
Yep. Which,
stay tuned. There's going to be an artist takeover coming up here in the winter, so that's going to be announced maybe next week. By next week, definitely next week, if not this week. So thank you again to my gallery co-founders, and for our wise man / class clown, Chris P. Jones.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for the insight and just you're the gift that keeps on giving, man. Even if you're a baker that doesn't know how to bake.
Well, I'm a baker.
Yes, we'll leave it at that. If you're liking the podcast here, we could always use support. Like the podcast, follow it, share it. If you know any interesting artists that you think we should be bringing on, send them our way. Send us a message. Look, we're volunteers here. We miss stuff. If we don't get back to you quickly, hit us up again. Don't take offense to it. Just, we suck sometimes too.
We suck sometimes.
DMJ, they admitted to checking.
Yeah, there you go.
Check them every day.
Just DMJ.
Once you follow Jay, you have permission to harass them about anything AG related, Art Bazaar related.
Don't harass me.
Light harassment.
A light harassment's okay.
If you buy a sticker, you can harass even more. If you buy a painting, you have full.
No, that's what people think.
Well, it's probably my fault now that I think about it. My bad, Jay. But yeah, we need some love and support to help this podcast grow. So help us do that. Go to that podcast link on the website. You can donate. You can send us a message. Like I said, if you know someone that's interesting. And we got a lot of awesome guests lined up for this year. Hopefully Liz Ramos I'm going to meet with her this month. She's awesome. Can't wait to bring Liz Ramos on the show and some other fascinating guests. So stay tuned to that, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Art Bazaar. And thank you again to my creative co-conspirators. Love you all.
See ya.
Yep. Have a good one.
Take care.